Why did you do that, though? Like, why did you put me through all
What was the point of all this?
Hey, everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Tiffany.
Here's a Back Issues that I never thought we'd ever get to, and here we are. It's Darkseid versus Galactus, The Hunger. This was during the, forgive the parlance, but onslaught, lower O, of DC Marvel crossovers that came about due to the collaborations between the editor, the marks, between Marvel and DC, and of course DC versus Marvel, the massive event that saved the comic book industry. And I remember seeing that and going, what is wrong with you? Darkseid versus Galactus. People were like, this is the crossover you're waiting for. And I'm like, no.
No, it's not.
It's Darkseid versus Thanos.
Yeah, what?
What are you doing?
Yeah, that is so much obvious. Because, like, without knowing anything about this, I feel like Galactus is our hero here. Because Darkseid and Apocalypse serves... get out of here.
Right, it's two villains. Whoever loses, we win.
But I'm just saying, like, Galactus is kind of doing a service to the DC
Well, yeah.
universe.
Yeah.
Like,
But they're both-
I'm gonna go home.
But the deeper you dig on this idea, the more I'm like, okay, I guess if you're like a big nerd about it, it makes sense. They're both fundamental, primordial, elemental forces of the universe that also can be construed as antagonists. Certainly the Beyonder thought so when he brought Galactus to Battleworld and put him on the bad guy team.
Right, but I mean...
And Darkseid, of course, is like the literal devil, except there are also multiple devils in the DC universe. But Jack Kirby, angry and jilted from Marvel, went to DC and was like, here's this. Now you're welcome.
Yeah,
And
now deal with that.
And DC going, I don't know what the hell to do with this. The fourth world? This feels like a passion project of yours. And he's like, yeah, it is. By the way, I also love this. I didn't know this at the time, but Jack Kirby talked exactly like The Thing was written.
Really?
So if you read The Thing, it's Jack's voice.
Wow.
Like the Benjamin J. Grimm should sound like Jack Kirby. And there's more interviews available now thanks to the internet that I've seen. So now I vividly know what Jack Kirby sounds like, and I'm like, I actively try to change The Thing's voice to sound like Jack. So they're both fundamental, elemental, evil forces that are pitted against each other.
Gods, in a sense.
And Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid.
Right.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, Jim.
And he's not a god in any sense.
He is a god, but only when he cheats.
Right.
Like, only when he steals
He's just a
gems
titan
that make him a god.
otherwise,
He is a titan, exactly.
Yeah,
But
which is just a race of people.
But, like...
yeah, no, they're from Titan, the moon.
Yeah.
Couldn't you argue, then, that Darkseid should face Thor?
Right.
Or Odin?
Because they're gods. And
But are really just aliens?
but
Darkseid's more... Like,
elemental.
But do you know what I mean, though?
I do, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, these are threads you don't want to pull. And I know, like, people are like, but power scaling or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if our, like, he lives on a planet.
Yeah.
Out in space.
Right.
Where people can visit.
But it's also
or
outside
not.
of reality.
Right.
Like, it's not in the universe, it's within the multiverse.
Yeah, but you can
It's
also
outside the
fly
multiverse.
there in a ship, which they do.
Which they absolutely do. Like, there are shipping routes in at least Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey between planets, including Apocalypse. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought you could only get there via boom tube. And it's like, no, you can also fly there.
Yeah.
It just takes a long time.
Are there shipping routes from Apocalypse to every universe? Where when the ships from the different universes come together, like, oh, hey, what's up? You're from universe 53
Well, the ships
or
don't go
52?
to Apocalypse because Darkseid would destroy them.
Oh,
Like,
I
parademons
see.
would assault the ship.
I see.
No, you can bypass Apocalypse, but you can actually
But it
get
is in
there.
the way. You
Yeah.
could go there.
Here's the thing. Cyborg Superman puts Doomsday's corpse onto an asteroid and hurls it in space, and then it eventually just ends up on Apocalypse.
Right.
Dan Jurgens is very careful to show you that Darkseid ends up in Boom 2. But we're not here to talk about Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey, because we already did.
We already did that, yeah.
No, we're here to talk about this.
We're here to talk about Darkseid versus Galactus.
Whether it makes any sense.
But, like, I still would rather see Thanos because then, like, Darkseid would be like,
You pale imitation of me. That's what he calls him in DC versus Marvel.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Marvel would be like, no, we're not going to let you
that's the problem.
dunk on us.
Yeah, well, and you know why I think there is, and I think you're tapping into something really true, because the reason I think why we never really see it, in DC versus Marvel, they keep teasing it. Like, there's a moment where Thanos appears before Darkseid, and then they fight in the background all throughout the 4 issues of DC versus Marvel. And you never really see, and I think it's because Marvel, in their heart of hearts, knows that Thanos is a ripoff, and they're like, we don't want to refer to it.
We don't want to make that. We don't want to acknowledge it.
We don't want to call
But
attention.
it would be really cool because it's like if during that time, like if Thanos was courting death, it'd be cool for her to be there.
Yes!
And like, Darkseid's like, all right, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I would like to see Thanos' reaction to Darkseid, like being like, I have a home base, as opposed to Thanos, which is like, I go everywhere I want, the whole universe is
And like I'm in love with death.
Yeah, like I want to see Darkseid's reaction to death. And what about the Black Racer? Because like Darkseid seems to have some measure of connectivity with him. Like there's
Or if
all
any
kinds
of
of
the
fun
Furies
stuff.
are like, that guy seems okay.
Yeah, well, based on the depiction of the Black Racer, who isn't nearly as cool as looking as when he is reinterpreted, I'd love to see the original Black Racer who appears in this book, and like Death riding him. Like they're dating. Like Death being like, wee!
Thanos is like, not cool.
Yeah, Thanos being like, no!
Get this guy out of here.
Oh my god! The Black Racer just cooked me! That'd be so great. I mean, it is a joke, but like, Thanos versus Darkseid. That's the thing we're all waiting for. Yes, is Thanos just a ripoff of Darkseid? Superficially, on paper, sure. However, I think Thanos is a fully realized, fully developed, three-dimensional character.
That was
with
just the origin point.
Yeah.
He diverged
and
into
became
his own thing.
Yeah.
It was like Darkseid budded, and then
And then there's this purple growth that just fell off of him, and then it grew into a prune-faced simp. But I don't know. I would have assumed that was the way to go, but it's also John Byrne. He's a massive nerd for these characters. This, of course, takes place on the Earth where Marvel and DC coexist. They live in the same universe. And so John Byrne is like, here is that part. Sometimes you'll see, because John Byrne also did Captain America and Batman, and also interwove it into his story about generations, showing you like Batman through the ages. And then is also like, and there's like a side chapter where Captain America's also in it. And that's technically canon to my continuity that DC will never acknowledge. So we've seen that Earth with those characters, like the Teen Titans and the X-Men teaming up and having never interacted with anybody until that moment.
Right. Well, the world's a big place,
It's a big place, yeah. Just because the Dark Phoenix saga happened and it didn't rouse the suspicions of the Justice League, what? No, it's a big galaxy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff going on at once.
Yeah, they can't be everywhere at once.
Right, and they also can't be anywhere they weren't. So
yeah, they weren't there, so by definition they were busy.
It's like they're like, oh, here's Galactus. Like
Right.
no one's heard like
no, they have.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, he did what he did.
Yeah.
In
the DC universe,
right.
and just
but like, shouldn't that be something then that like everyone like Darkseid's like,
oh shit,
one day.
yeah.
This is the question: does he have a contingency?
Right.
Or is he like
Yes.
totally surprised?
Darkseid has a contingency for
Okay.
Galactus.
All right.
And I would be like, oh man, maybe Darkseid needs the anti-life equation, and because like things like the Ultimate Nullifier are on Galactus' ship, maybe Galactus has access to that? No.
Damn.
Nor does Darkseid use the equation to control Galactus' will and unleash him on his enemies.
I mean, he could have even been like, that's why do you think I needed the anti-life equation?
yeah, it's
I
to
was
get to
preparing
Galactus.
for Galactus.
That'll be awesome. Now, there's a fun little tidbit. You probably just came across it because we have one individual to thank for this crossover, and it is not John Byrne.
No. It's
Who is it?
Mark Galinis McFinn.
Yes. Who one time at a convention came up to John Byrne and said, what if Galactus tried to eat Apocalypse? And John Byrne was like, okay, I'm gonna write and draw that.
But, like that makes it way less about like John Byrne like being like these are the two who should fight.
No.
As opposed to like anyone
Yeah.
else. And
He's like,
just
oh no,
there you go.
this nerd is going all over this con, bebopping and scatting his ideas. I better jump on this before somebody else steals it from me.
No, actually, initially, I wasn't even looking at that. I was just looking at the fact that I love every time you see Apocalypse, it's just varying amounts of fire pouring out. Like this one's
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's some fire.
Yeah.
And this one's like, but where do you live?
No, yeah.
It's actually mostly fire.
It's like Earth, where it's 70% fire.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're like the
fire
ocean.
is like a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, but they're not always shooting. Just when we see them, they are.
Because that's when it looks the coolest.
That's when it looks the worth. Because that's
Oh,
when
hey,
it's worth
quick.
drawing.
Why would I draw it? It didn't look like that.
Yeah.
Someone's taking a picture. Quick, turn all the fire on.
Exactly. But although I do think that the fires blaze all the time because
Yeah.
it's worth noting when the fires go out.
Right.
Right. So like, I feel like
Yeah. Well, there aren't a lot of people there. There are citizens of Apokolips. They're like
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
people who live there, and they are slaves or at least denizens. Like they're treated horribly. So it's like there's no like natural resources.
no, like,
You can't
suburbs,
grow
you're
anything
telling
there.
me.
Absolutely
Right.
not. Yeah, there's no middle class on Apokolips.
Is the idea with Apokolips that like there are other worlds that are like garden worlds, and we just import our food from there?
Right.
Like what? Yeah.
I
How?
assume
It's like Mordor.
What do
Yeah.
you feed the parrot? Do they eat?
parademons don't need to eat because they're already dead. They're basically just
right.
spirits inhabited
Right.
in like cloned husks.
Yeah, but don't the husks need to power
They
their
need sustenance?
bodies?
If they're biological,
yeah,
they're cloned,
well,
it implies they're
kinda-
biological.
Because they're kind of like zombies.
But zombies still need sustenance.
Zombies should
No, they
should need to
desire
eat.
it. That's a latent, innate desire for food.
That's
Yeah, but
true.
zombies are magical.
Yeah, and so are parademons. I mean, like, for all the purposes.
Okay, yeah, fair.
But, yeah, so this is a story where it's like, okay, so Galactus is going to fight Darkseid. I think I know who would win, and I think everyone does too, and John Byrne does as well. So how are we going to fill these pages? So John Byrne's like, all right, so maybe this is your first comic book ever. Or maybe you're only introduced to Darkseid through the story because you're a Marvel zombie. So this is how...
Did you say zombie?
Yeah, that's what people used to call Marvel fans.
What?
Oh.
And that's what Robert Kirkman was making fun of when he invented the book Marvel Zombies.
Really?
Yeah. No, he was like, because people have been using that term colloquially for years, and then Kirkman's like, but what if they literally were zombies, though?
That's okay. That's way more clever than I realized. Like I always thought that
Marvel
was a
Zombies is
stupid
such a like
name.
obvious,
yeah.
lame,
Like why did you call it
uninspired
Marvel
name.
Zombies?
Yeah, because it's also like an
Wow.
inside baseball kind of joke.
Oh,
Okay.
that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, right?
This is
Marvel
why we watch
zombies.
the show.
Now, Marvel Zombies 2, on the other hand,
Oh, that's just
or 3 or
derivative.
4 or 5.
So why do people call them Marvel Zombies? Like why do they have Marvel
Well,
Zombies?
it was a term of derision because it's like, oh, you only read Marvel.
Yeah, well, because they coined the term Marvel Zombies. They're like, well, yeah, of course I only read DC. That's the only books worth reading.
Or, hear me out, read what you feel like, and don't worry about what everyone else is reading.
Yeah, exactly. What? But
I don't know what you mean.
I don't understand.
I don't
Okay.
understand. I don't know.
And,
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
okay.
You said words, and I recognize that it was the English language, but when you strung together in the way in which you did it,
I couldn't.
I just blue screen.
I love Guy Gardner. That is my answer to that statement.
That sounds right.
So Byrne is like, here, this is the origin of Apokolips. And basically it's like, there used to be this one planet. It's like, do you know how the orcs came into being? They were elves once. This is like, do you know how Apokolips came into being? It was one planet one time, and there were these beings that are not unlike Asgardians.
Literally, it
They
looks
are
like
Asgardians.
freaking, like, yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like Asgard.
And I
Maybe a
wanna-
little more technological?
Yes, they are much more Kirby.
Yeah.
But also, you know, this is the same
And
universe.
he's got like 2 big A's on his chest.
Yeah, what is that?
Those may be A's. They're A's. But
That's the symbol for hope in their culture.
it got to their heads and they started like declaring war on each other. And then the battle caused the whole planet to explode, or a surge of energy occurred. And as a result, 2 planets formed. And so,
Is that how that works, Ethan?
I mean, like,
I mean, we're
it's a
talking
magical
about
realm full of beautiful creatures.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like primordial history and a civilization more advanced than you could even comprehend.
Yeah.
So, who the hell?
Okay.
Right? I mean, just.
I mean, it looks like it actually blows up though.
So it's just like a use or recycle of energies and matter?
sure, yeah, why not? That sounds good. I buy that.
So cosmically, like solar system dynamics thinking here, no, they should not form 2 different bodies.
No.
It should just explode and then collapse back in on itself into one planet, roughly the size of the original planet.
Right. But like, but theologically,
Yes.
the one planet didn't work out. So now
Right.
there's 2.
Right.
And
like
one is paradise.
metatextually,
Yeah.
like it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, would that
Exactly.
mean that like Krypton could reform as like another Krypton?
No, because Krypton is a secular planet.
How is Krypton depicted? Is that we're off topic now, but is it depicted as like an asteroid belt, or is it like no, there's nothing left?
Oh, there's nothing left.
Okay, so it was like
okay.
atomized.
There's multiple ways to depict a post-explosion Krypton. I've seen it where it is an asteroid belt or a field.
It would have to be if all this kryptonite keeps showing up.
I know. I've also seen it where there's nothing, but there are hunks of Krypton that are just always constantly hurtling through space.
Right.
In fact, in Superman Returns, there is a multi-million-dollar deleted opening that shows Brandon Routh's Superman flying his
Oh, yeah, that's
crystalline
right.
ship to the ruins of Krypton and is able to find like an actual chunk that has the crest on. I'm like, the planet blew up. You're not gonna find a big enough piece to have architecture. Even then, by the way, he finds nothing, and it's like, why did you even go? What are you doing?
Because you had to see.
See what?
I have to see.
Your space dad told you in the crystals,
I know,
man.
but I have
Because
to
sometimes you
know.
have to see.
I wonder what they told him when he was like, all right, Mom and Dad, I'm leaving. I'm going to go look for Krypton. Like, don't bother. What are you doing? I just told you.
Well, they don't know. They weren't there. They were there when it happened, but not there after.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they don't know what's out there.
Like, sure, you know what? Actually, I approve of this message.
What you
Go
do
for it.
know is that at
My
most
name's
it's a
Jarrell,
graveyard.
and I approve of this message.
Yeah. Your mother, on the other hand.
So I was a little bit wrong. If it exploded with enough force that the pieces each had escape velocity from
Okay.
the solar system, then they would just go off in all directions into space and they'd never come back together.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That'd be a pretty powerful explosion.
Yeah.
I don't know what could possibly do that.
Well, they do call it an apocalypse. They say, and so there came, as it surely must to such a world, a time when the raging spirits dwelling there unleashed upon themselves a terrible apocalypse. On that day was their ancient world torn asunder, the awesome agonies of its death throes, the simultaneous birth pangs of two new worlds. By the way, the whole book is written like this.
The rest of the book will be like this.
The rest of the book will be like this, and thankfully every character that appears would also talk like this because we're dealing with Darkseid and Galactus and the Silver Surfer, so yeah.
Is this what happened canonically
to
to form
yes,
Apocalypse?
More or less.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, this is New Genesis, it's pretty and awesome, and that's where Highfather lives, and also there's Apocalypse, and it sucks, and Galactus is going to try to eat it later. So, anyway, here's a bunch of characters that you might remember or you've never seen before, and while I gave you context for the birth of Apocalypse and New Genesis, I will give you no context for Orion and Light Ray, like the
That
fact
seems like
that...
it's more important.
Right, like the fact that Orion is actually the birth child of Darkseid, and he was traded to Highfather to keep an uneasy alliance between New Genesis and Apocalypse. Well, here's Orion, and he's cool, and he's gonna fight Silver Surfer. And I'm like, all right, but you're really picking and choosing. And the book only has 40 some odd pages.
Can we just talk about the fact that Mr. Miracle, I'm just like, Ryan's a dick.
Yeah.
Because of Tom King's Mr. Miracle, I'm like, you're a dick.
Yes.
Listen,
And someone should punch you in the face.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, you know what I mean? I gotta make a lot of hard decisions. I mean, weigh the life of Scott Free versus all the people of New Genesis, and it's a pretty good trade.
Yeah.
Plus,
But he's also just a dick, though.
Oh, yeah,
regardless
no.
of what his actions and the reason behind them, he's just also kind of
Highfather sucks. I mean, yeah.
Highfather's not a great dad, and you're actually Darkseid's kid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
I know. No, Orion's a pain in the ass, too. So Light Ray shows up, and he's like, he's coming. And so he immediately, because Light Ray also can go really fast, he flies to Highfather to tell him, and Orion's like, knock it off. Highfather has something he wants to say. And so they go with their Highfather because the Source, which is also, sometimes it's God, but it's not really. The idea is that, the Source, when the old gods died, it alone survived, eternal, a reservoir of wisdom to the new gods, though its messages can be cryptic. It appears before Highfather in the form of messages that it'll occasionally tell him. That's how Highfather gets his wisdom. It's the Source contacts him directly, kind of like the Pope talks directly to God.
Oh yeah.
So
how does the Source decide what font to use?
I think that's the Source influences the publisher who's making the book, and they pick the letterer.
I see.
So Highfather gets this note, and it says, "Hide the world." And Highfather's like, how cryptic it is. I'm like, not really, just hit the lights because Galactus is coming. Turn off the world. And so Highfather impresses upon Light Ray the importance of his duties. So Light Ray has to go out and then create a giant light that looks kind of like a sun and obscures the view of New Genesis.
Well, how do they know which way they're coming from?
Oh, because Light Ray also saw where
okay.
the herald was coming.
Okay.
So while
he
they're...
just puts that in between...
New Genesis and Apocalypse.
I'm just gonna... There we go.
Well, as long as I know the direction and trajectory of the Silver Surfer, I'll just put the sun in that way.
Right.
All we know is we need Galactus to see Apocalypse.
Right, and not...
Which is
not New Genesis.
I get it, you're casting a light on it. I'm sure Apocalypse has never had this before. They're like, whoa, what is happening here? But also, it's literally shooting fire. It's you can't ignore that.
No, but Silver Surfer is constantly ignoring all this crazy shit
I
happening in space.
know. I know.
Don't forget, this is also
He's very preoccupied.
He's got tunnel vision, you can tell.
Yeah.
So while they're all talking about this, Darkseid has spies and cameras or whatever within New Genesis, and he is like, oh man, wake up Darkseid, we're gonna tell him. And Darkseid's like, wake me up for what? I'm already here, I'm so great.
Hey, it's me. Hands
Hey,
behind my
it's me.
back.
I knew something was
Got my little
happening.
booties on.
Yep. This is Darkseid.
I know it is 100%. I actually have no beef with this. I think he looks great.
I will tell you though, as a kid, I was like, why is anyone afraid
of this guy.
of this dorky, rocky guy? And at least he's not wearing a cape anymore, because he used to wear a cape and he looked even more dumb. But I have come to respect and admire and enjoy.
It's mostly because of Michael Ironside.
That's the thing. Superman the Animated Series completely changed everything for Darkseid. Not just for me, I'll bet for a lot of people at home who pretend like they always love Darkseid. But like when Darkseid showed up in the Superman Animated Series, I was like, oh shit! First of all, Michael Ironside's voice. Awesome. Secondly, immediately just doesn't move, doesn't flinch, doesn't make any effort. Superman demands to know, and he's Superman. You know, he's like, explain to me who you are and what you're doing here. And Darkseid doesn't even acknowledge him. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. Superman's like, hey, turn around and talk to me.
I'm Superman?
Yeah, I'm Superman. I don't know if you got the message, but like, I'm the Beamock around these parts. And Darkseid's like, oh, okay, and then he shoots him with his Omega beams. And Superman's like, ah! And Darkseid's kind of like, oh, you didn't die. All right, you should have led with that. Anyway, bye. So yeah, that's a great episode. And then we're just going to talk about that episode from now on. But anyway,
Okay.
so Darkseid's like, all right, well, they think that's going to help. Nah, well, whatever, who cares?
I'm not worried.
Desaad assumes that New Genesis exploded in like a ball of fire. He's like, they burned themselves to death rather than face whatever threat is coming. Darkseid's like, you are so stupid, Desaad. I hate you so much.
Why do I have you?
Right.
What do you even do here?
What do you even do?
What would you say you do here?
Exactly. He's just like, he basically just demands that like Desaad look out the window and see what he sees, and inevitably the Silver Surfer comes into view. And the Silver Surfer is still Galactus' herald and has had his memories wiped by Galactus of his sacrifice and why he's the Silver Surfer at all.
And Shalabal?
Of course, and Zenla. Silver Surfer is just, he's Galactus' herald.
He's OG Silver Surfer.
Yes, and this Silver Surfer, he's like, I believe that I was created by Galactus. Galactus like plucked me from nothing and made me, and so I owe him my allegiance because
he
otherwise
is my
I would-
god.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, okay.
So the ruse works. Silver Surfer doesn't even look over at New Genesis, sees Apocalypse, like, this place is weird. But not as weird as it would be if I came through a wormhole and arrived here from the Marvel Universe. It's just kind of peculiar in the menagerie of planets that I have annihilated in the servitude of my master. But this place is pretty bad. And I don't even see any people. Like, I don't see, like...
He's like, that's great.
Right, well, no.
Well,
no,
he doesn't care at this
He
point.
doesn't care about that, but also usually, according to Silver Surfer in the story, the planets that see him send ambassadors to plead and beg for their lives, but they're not even sending people. But then he's attacked by parademons, and he's like, whoa!
Oh, that's why they're not sending.
Exactly.
It's a sneak attack.
So they dogpile on Silver Surfer, just constant barrage of parademons. Silver
But he
Surfer
has the power cosmic.
unleashes the power cosmic on them and kills them. And Darkseid's like, all right, well, that's enough parademons we're wasting on Silver Surfer. I'm just going to blast him with one of my fire pits. And Desaad's like, no, Master, please, like, send more. And Darkseid's like, you're so stupid. Because, like, Desaad is just, like, he loves carnage. Like, he loves to see death.
Right,
and
more
destruction.
violence.
More violence. And Darkseid's, that's all you think about, man.
It sounds more like Desaad piloted the Parademon program.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
No,
like,
no,
no,
they
no, no.
We should see
They'll
where
get
this goes.
through.
They're
Trust
gonna,
me.
listen. I know we put a lot of resources into this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I'm telling,
You gotta give them a
It
chance.
will pay off.
You gotta give them a chance. They're almost there. They're almost there.
Yeah.
Just needs
I
another
know
minute.
we're losing money hand over fist on this.
Exactly.
But it's gonna come around.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
So
this
Dark-
is how it's supposed to go. They're supposed to wear him
seemingly
out
lose.
with their tremendous numbers.
Yes.
They're slowing him down.
Right? So Darkseid blasts Silver Surfer with a fire pit, and before Silver Surfer's overwhelmed, he fires the beacon to summon Galactus. And Highfather is like, it is done! All's well that ends well. Apocalypse is good as gone.
did it.
The war between us and Darkseid is over. We don't have to worry about it anymore. All right.
Sweet.
Dope.
Yeah.
We've done it.
By the way, Lights Ray, keep that up.
Was Silver Surfer killed by
No.
this? Oh, okay.
No.
He's
Because
just-
he's so strong.
Right, he's just down in that pit.
He's just
He
overwhelmed.
has the power cosmic. Ethan.
I know.
Yeah, but like people say that, but they don't
I
understand what
know.
that means.
But
I know.
but he
I
gave
just
off
like
this
saying
like
it.
this like last ditch desperation like beacon. I was
Well,
like,
yeah.
oh, is that his last gasp?
Yeah, no, that'd be neat, but no, because we also want to see Orion versus Silver Surfer.
Oh, I see.
So Orion is like, that's kind of shitty that we're just gonna like hide, and Galactus is gonna eat Apocalypse, like our eons old war is over because a
Orion,
third party shows
or-
up. Yeah, no, Orion is like that.
Oh, not Highfather? Who are you, Orion, to say that? Oh, maybe because like some part of him is
Maybe
like
it never
my dad.
He doesn't come up. He doesn't bring up the fact that like his dad, but it could be subtext because like
Or it could
You
be,
can't just destroy them.
it could be the fact that, all right, hear me out. Ready? I'm gonna
My
add.
father does explain it. but-
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I want to hear your theory. Then.
yeah, no.
my theory is that because of like his lineage, that there is part of him that does want a fight, and so he doesn't want this enemy to go away.
Yeah, that's
because
exactly
then-
what it is.
Too cheap.
Because then, like, who will Orion like?
Battle.
Rage out on, because it's like if they have Utopia, then like there is no place for Orion. Orion really doesn't fit in there.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, Highfather even says, like, I know that the martial flame that burns in your breast, you're a warrior, you think they deserve a warrior's death, and you feel like there's no place for you, but like, it's fine.
Here's
But
what we're gonna
I'm
do.
your dad. And
We're just gonna
it's
send
fine.
you away.
Right, we're gonna send you there.
We're gonna go. You can go to like I don't know, like War
Oh,
World.
Zarnia.
Yeah, there you go. That's a perfect place for Orion.
You'll love it.
You're gonna love it.
And then one day Lobo will kill you along with the rest of them. So
Yep.
then, just in case you don't know who Galactus is, Highfather explains to Orion that a universe died, and in its death throes, a ship was sent, and within that ship was Galen, and Galen eventually became Galactus.
Did they actually call him Galen?
No.
Oh.
But I'm putting it in there because
Yeah.
we know who
We know
Galactus'
his
real
name
name
is
is.
Galen.
But I really like this. Like, if you read this, it's kind of fun because you're literally seeing both origins of Darkseid and Galactus within the context of the same universe, and it's almost like if Kirby got to do the fourth world at Marvel like he wanted to.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because like I was thinking, like Highfather explaining the origins of Galactus is kind of cool.
Yes!
Like I know everything. I know all about that because that's
Right.
part of this universe
That's
that I'm
right.
in.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would know.
That happened. And
Yeah.
also, it'd be fun to see a kind of like parallel where the last son of a dead universe is being sent on a lone rocket and he becomes even more powerful as a result of his banishment. Like, that's just Superman.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
But even more twisted and terrible. So actually, you could have done Superman versus Galactus, and that would have been fun too.
Oh.
Because then you could have made Superman a more tasty herald for Galactus, like Silver Surfer is Galactus' herald. And
Yeah.
then he's like, oh, Superman's better. Get out of here, Norrin. And then Norrin's like, oh, what am I if not a herald? What place is I for
I
the
don't care,
universe?
man. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm
There's a
already
lot
done.
you
Go
like,
find
there's
a
lot of
girl,
different
settle
things
down.
you could
I
do
already
verse
did.
whatever. Like you could see like Brainiac having a real problem with Galactus. He's like, you
Yeah.
just destroy. No.
Yeah, or
you're not saving anything.
Oh, you're the opposite.
Yeah. Or Brainiac constantly at odds with Galactus.
Yeah.
Like, Galactus
Yeah.
like, ah, shit, Brainiac was here. Anyway, moving on. The idea of only really the origin of Galactus being known to like the Watchers and like the Watchers being known to Highfather and how that all is incorporated into his headcanon. I'm like, oh, I'd like to see that.
That okay. I'm glad they didn't do this, but wouldn't it be interesting if it was like the source was actually one of the Watchers?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah, like
what's his name?
Uatu was just
Uatu was like,
slipping notes under the door to Highfather.
just save yourselves.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
Like,
exactly
we can
what
lose
it is.
Apocalypse. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. In fact, I know what he's going to do one day, so how about he just dies? And I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, I want to look at that.
Yeah, because I mean, Uatu gets in, and then you do more parallels. Like Uatu gets involved to stop Galactus from eating Earth. How about Uatu slips a note to Highfather to have Galactus kill Darkseid because in this merged reality, Darkseid was the one who was going to make himself known before the Earthlings, and he was going to kill humanity. But it was actually
Right.
going to be much worse because Galactus was going to eat it. But Darkseid's going to enslave them, like, and become parademons and stuff. Like that'd be kind of fun too. But again, there's only like 40-some odd pages.
I
in this
know,
book,
I
so
know,
that's
I
all
know,
right.
I know.
Also, Byrne is like, I draw the definitive Galactus, basically. Like, after Kirby, it's me. But it is after Kirby, and Kirby did give Galactus bike shorts. So I will also give Galactus bike shorts. So Galactus is going to have short sleeves, and he's just going to have his running uniform on. And I'm like, all right. I don't like it. I never liked it.
It's hard for
I'm
me to
not a
take you
fan.
seriously.
You know
It's
what it
hard when I can
is?
see your knees.
Here's the thing. You have to be a pretty like big badass to show up in bike. Like if there's like a dude who shows up in bike shorts, I'm like, one of two things is happening. I'm gonna laugh at you, or two,
I'm going to die.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're wearing bike shorts. You're either really dumb or really confident.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Right, exactly. So Galactus is just, it's him. He's like, well,
I don't like the boots. That's actually what's not
It's not
flowing for
Those
me.
boots are
Yeah.
weird.
Well, they don't match his outfit because
Yeah.
no, man, the appendage is supposed to match. The gloves match the boots, match the helmet.
I never know what to do with feet.
But also, well, that's the thing is, Byrne is like, but this is the Galactus of the merged DC and Marvel
Sure,
universe that was
okay.
established in Titans X-Men.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see this version of Galactus, and I don't get to draw this because if I was drawing Galactus for Marvel, they'd be like, stick to the model.
Right.
He wears pants now. The boots match the gloves, match the helmet. He's like, no, I want to have this weird-looking Galactus.
Can I-
At least have a big G, like he did when he first showed up.
Sure, yeah, because that, he knew who he was.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the big G.
And he used English.
yeah.
No, he speaks in,
He
yes.
speaks,
It wouldn't be a
it's all,
G.
it's
It
all
would
in
be
your
like
mind.
whatever the G
Yeah,
is in
yeah,
his
yeah.
It stands for
alphabet.
hope. It stands for hunger.
It's not a G, it's just we happen to see it as a G.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks like
no.
a G to us.
Well, just the way that Galactus appears before every civilization as the apocalypse that they are destined
That's
to
right.
have.
He doesn't
Right.
even look like this.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we see.
That's what we see for our benefit. Yeah, that's right.
That's why he's wearing bike shorts.
That's right. Our minds can't cognitize our own demise, and so we rail against it by making him look as silly as possible. That's where the G comes from.
Here's a question
Yes.
for you. It's a little bit of a side note or
The book's really short, so it's
that's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Do you prefer the Galactus like in a ship, or do you prefer the idea we've seen something that's like I guess in
Where
more
he's
animes,
literally just there?
where he's like really big?
He can do both. I like the ship because there's more bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I like Kirby's just like
It's more things that can happen. You can
Okay.
try to get on the ship.
yeah, he can keep things there.
Yeah.
I love the Marvel Universe cosmology, and I would like to live in it. I like the idea that like we could be annihilated by a guy named Annihilus. Like I like the
What?
idea of
What's wrong with you?
a big bear man named Blastar with wrecks our shit and then disappears and we never know why he was there.
Well, you have something in common with H.P. Lovecraft because these are just Lovecraftian horrors.
Yes,
right.
but we can reason with it. Like I like the idea that God can come
But you
and
can't
go.
reason with Galactus. I mean, not originally.
No,
right?
you have to scare him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break everything, Galactus, unless you go away. Ah, holy shit.
Well, I don't want to die.
Yeah. Oh, you can die? Aren't you God?
What does God need with a ship then?
Well, then Galactus is like, no. Galactus goes, I don't even understand what that means. I don't know what God is.
Yeah.
I am hungry. That's the only thing I know and think. Also, I don't want to die, and that's also related to my hunger.
then I
Because if
couldn't
I
eat.
don't eat, I'll die.
So you like him with like Ethan? Do you like him with the ship, or do you like just a big guy?
The big guy's complicated. In the Tick
like the
animated
ship.
series, Omnipotus is a ship. Like it's Galactus, and his boots have jets in them, so he just floats around and then
Sure.
literally eats planets like he's eating a burger. And that's funny, but also and so it's silly as well. I don't like the idea of Galactus just floating around being
Yeah,
like,
like,
I
how
hope
does he
I get
move,
there.
though?
What did we see where like it was like Galactus was dropped into the planet basically?
Yeah, that was in the Silver Surfer story where he fights Mephisto.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
No,
you.
he does that too. He leaves the
he
ship.
can do that.
And then
Yeah.
he descends into
So-
the planet.
Here's what's funny for me about the ship. The ship makes him more human.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is
Like,
why I
you need a
almost-
ship?
Yeah, which is why I almost like him less in the ship, or like needing the ship to feed.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, without the ship, then what will you do?
Yeah. No, it's true. If I
You know,
separate
like-
Galactus from his great machine, because they always have a great machine.
Yeah, like,
But
and
that's
so
why you need the ship, because the ship is what makes the ship is like, no, this is a sci-fi god. This is God
No,
in
it's
a
I get that, and I
futuristic,
guess
like,
I
universe
want
where
it to be like,
machines
yeah.
are the thing, right? The ultimate thing is an ultimate machine.
Yes,
right.
But like I want to think of him as a force of the universe.
Yeah.
So, like I'm like no, like
That
maybe,
idea makes more sense.
like
Right,
maybe
to
he
me.
has the ship, but the ship just makes it easier from to point A from point
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
point A to
But he
point B.
doesn't. Yeah, but the ship is
doesn't
also
need it.
part of his mythology.
I know, I know.
right.
It's not like
The ship, okay, a god being in a ship or a godlike being in a ship is weirder. It's much
It's
weirder
more like, oh!
and unnatural.
Yeah.
Like a godlike being who doesn't need a ship makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do kind of dig how weird it is.
That's the
okay,
thing, is it's so
okay.
weird and how
Totally fair.
specific it is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like solar winds annihilating a planet, it's like, yeah, it's part of the cosmology. Like, yeah, just something's going to happen. That is a thing that occurs.
Yeah.
Whereas a ship shows up, and then a guy comes out of, and why does he have these things on the side of his helmet? He's like, I'm here to eat everything. And they're like, oh, well, we have to stop him. And it's like, oh, well, we should actually discuss that because he's also an elemental force in the universe. And I'm like, well, but he has
But he's a ship.
But he needs
Who
gas.
built the ship?
Like, what?
Yeah. It's got like engines and stuff.
Exactly.
I feel like I could like disable it.
Who built that? And it's like,
Right.
I guess the Celestials? And then there's like, well, what are those? And I'm like, well, those are just guys in suits. But they
Don't pull
also
that
make
thread.
things, and those guys float around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also
don't
have
need a
their own ship.
But they do build ships.
No, and they fly around in those too.
Yeah.
They're just so big.
But just for show, I guess.
Yeah, because if the Celestials flew a ship to Earth, the size of the ship would destroy
Right.
the planet, which is why Celestials typically just show up.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, like it just gets bigger and more horrifying and complicated as you rise the echelon until eventually you get to the one above all, and it's like, what? Why don't you just call him God? Why does it have to be the one above all? Why are you power scaling this shit when we're like facing our own destruction? What does that mean? And it's like, well, the one above all, we don't call him God because that's what God would be. This is the one above all.
Right.
And
This is that's your universe. You call it God.
Yeah,
this is
right.
the Marvel universe.
yeah. Don't worry about him. And if you
Or
meet the living tribunal, like, Lord help you.
I think,
The one above all help you because, woof.
admittedly, I think they did that because if you have like one of your characters is Thor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like
you have
you
to be like,
don't
well-
necessarily want to make it one religion over another.
No.
You call it the one above all.
That's
and that
true.
way it's
Right.
not associated with anything
And
like
there's
that.
no argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who's above him? Well, I
No.
mean, it's implicit. I think you know.
Yeah.
No one. He is the one above all. So Galactus arrives.
I guess his mom.
Right, I guess. If he has one.
Oh my
know, I
God.
know.
What came first, the one above all or his mom?
So Galactus shows up in his big circle ship, and he's just like, okay. And his ship eclipses the light ray display.
Yeah.
You can watch the denizens of Apocalypse being like, at first they were blinded by all this light, which normally is not in Apocalypse. And they're
Right, so
like,
their eyes are completely like not capable of.
Yeah.
they'd
they're shot.
have to be completely blinded as a result of this. And Darkseid's like, oh, good, Galactus is here. And Desaad's like, you didn't do anything? Like, wait, so that's what Highfather was doing over there? You didn't do anything to shield us from him? Like,
you knew what was
are you
happening
doing,
and you just
man?
let it happen?
And you know, Darkseid's like, how dare you? Like, ask me that. Like, how dare you second guess me and question my decisions?
You're Darkseid.
He's like, you ask a lot of questions for somebody who's Darkseid. Like, he's basically like, have a care, Darkseid. Fear has made you bold if you dare to question me. And I'm like, fair enough. But also, like, who are you, man? Like, how dare you? And he's like, I have a superpowers action figure. I exist. People like me. So he's like, all right.
Okay, but like, what are you gonna do though?
Yeah, so Darkseid unleashes some of his great weapons at Galactus, and they would destroy everything. Like, they're crazy doomsday weapons, and Galactus doesn't even acknowledge them.
Yeah.
He's just wrecking everything.
Darkseid's like, huh.
No.
But this
Darkseid's
is-
just like, behold, watch as Galactus takes it in stride. And Galactus
yeah.
is like, all right, whatever, I'm building my machine so I can eat your planet. So he's putting it together.
Yeah.
And,
Hold on, like he has to build it every time.
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, it's
Yep.
gotta be put together. Well, it's all pieces. you
I've
know?
got to construct the great.
He's got his
machine.
Duplos.
Yeah, the
It's-
great. Yeah.
right, I gotta-
And I'm
He's
gonna
so old.
use like your planet itself to make that machine.
Right.
Yeah, and Darkseid's like, ooh, good call. So Darkseid then unleashes his like other contingency against these kinds of planetary threats, where like basically the planet itself rises as giant mech monsters. Like the planet itself is alive and becomes like dudes.
This is so Kirby looking.
I know, and it's just Byrne being like, "You're welcome, Jack." And it's just these giant planet apocalyptian made dudes. So one of them just like hauls off and wails Galactus in the hip, and Galactus like, "Oh!" But once he
What
acknowledges,
gives?
yeah, the shit is this. So then they just start like piling on him. They're just like, "Bro, you know,
Dogpiling Galactus.
yeah, these two guys that like must have killed all the people that lived on it.
Oh, yeah.
are just like
yeah.
wailing on Galactus. It's like the rock fight in The Hobbit, where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I thought I had a lid on the mythology here, and then rock monsters? Do they procreate? Are they sentient? What the hell is happening? Don't think about it. And then the Silver Surfer shows up and just blasts the shit out of them. And he's like talking to himself about how he owes Galactus everything because Galactus made him and stuff.
Yeah.
And Highfather's like, nice. Look, this could be happening to us right now, and yet, lo and behold, watch as Apocalypse is annihilated from within. And you know, Orion's like, "Oh, I don't like that. I'm gonna put on my suit and I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna stop this."
High-Five's like, no, don't come back.
Stop, wait, come back. So
There he goes.
yeah, because Light Ray's like, "What do we do, Highfather? He's already gone. Oh my God, he just ran in."
It's like nothing. What's he going to do?
Stick to the plan. Do nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he says, "Well, there's nothing we can do. He's already made his decision."
Right.
High-Five's like, things are really working out.
Yeah, this is gonna solve itself,
This is
man.
really just cleaning itself up.
I don't know why I didn't call Galactus myself.
I didn't really have a solution to the Orion
He's
problem.
like, hey, Galen. Hi, Father. How are you?
Yeah.
I got a planet for you.
Yeah. So yeah, then Orion attacks Silver Surfer, and you're like, oh, that's fun. Watch Orion fight Silver Surfer, and he's like,
Watch Orion get his ass kicked
yes.
by the power cosmic.
yeah, because there's
Yeah.
no effing way that he could stand up to the Silver Surfer. I think there's some irony on display here because Orion doesn't necessarily, because he says he's New Genesis born. You're not. He doesn't know his own origins, and Silver Surfer also is blind to his own origins.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these two rubes just slap each other. And so they're blasting, and eventually Surfer just like knocks Orion off of him. And Darkseid, who's like listening in on this conversation somehow, is like, oh, that's our in. Because Silver Surfer doesn't know where he came from. But I do, because I'm Darkseid, I know shit. You know, like I know.
Spies everywhere.
Right. I know that Silver Surfer is Norrin Rad, and he hails from Zenla, and he loves Shalabal, and then we get an origin for Silver Surfer.
God.
Jeez.
And I'm like, oh, so
Silver Surfer's name's not even on this book.
when this nerd gave you this idea, you were like, I got 2 pages of story for that. And I'm going to
Yes.
fill the rest with context.
Correct.
Yeah, which can be summed up by the cover, because all you get to see is really Orion and Silver Surfer fight, which is depicted here, and Galactus and Darkseid looking at each other, which also happens. And so, you know, Silver Surfer doesn't know his origins, and Darkseid's like, and he will. So Darkseid constructs a great machine that will be full of knowledge, and he gives it to Desaad to give it to Silver Surfer.
Why
And
does
so-
he use Desaad as the middleman? That seems like a terrible idea.
Oh, because I'm not
Right?
going to do it.
So, but let's talk about how not capable Desaad would be to do this. Like, that is the most unbelievable thing.
The most unbelievable thing is how successful he is at it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's just literally no way.
No. So
Is Darkseid scared of the Silver Surfer?
no, not at all.
So he doesn't want to go talk to him.
Doesn't wanna
person?
deal with it.
Or it's just below him.
He would.
I don't deliver things.
Silver
I build
Surfer-
things, and I have other people deliver them where they're going.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a god otherwise.
Right.
But also, Silver Surfer can't just be told. You can't like write a note. It's like, you know, you're actually named Norrin Rad, and I think it's because you actually do ride a surfboard, and people who do at the time you were created would say things are rad.
But wouldn't it be better if, like that Darkseid beat down Silver Surfer to show that
How powerful he is?
just show that he could take the power cosmic,
yeah, but we
and then put the thing on him then too.
Yeah, and it would be neat to see Darkseid use his Omega Beams against Silver Surfer, but he's
Yeah.
going to use them against Galactus. So
Right.
Sure.
Yeah,
Orion-
everyone's got to have their own fight. No, Silver Surfer has to fight Orion.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
I-
Darkseid can't also fight
Yeah,
him.
this
It's
book
going
isn't
to
called
complicate
Darkseid
things.
versus Silver Surfer.
We got to keep that fight pure.
That's
Okay,
right.
sorry.
If Darkseid fights anybody besides Desaad with words, it's going to be Galactus. So Orion's like, I am going to die here.
Uh-oh.
Like he's wrecked, and he's just like, oh, and I don't think Mother Box is going to be able to heal me, because like normally it can, but like
Right.
I've been.
This guy's
I've
real
just
strong.
He's like, all right, Silver Surfer, let's. Like,
Oh my god.
oh my god, that
really hurt.
yeah, that guy really wrecked me.
I think I bit off more than I could chew, guys.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, well, you know what? That's fine. I'm like a Klingon or whatever. I'm just gonna die in battle. Let's go, Surfer! And so he shoots him with his little, like, you know, flying zappy guys. And Silver Surfer goes, "Let the annoyance end now!" And laughs.
Oh.
So he is just down, and he's like, "You're gonna die now!" And then Desaad jumps on Silver Surfer's back and like pulls the wool over his eyes, literally, with the this crazy freaking tech.
So Desaad saves Orion.
Yes, he does, but only inadvertently. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's all part of Darkseid's masterstroke because he
Right.
secretly loves Orion.
Right.
But he's like, whoomp, and so that thing tells Surfer everything. Like it changes Surfer's mind and
Yeah.
it opens his eyes.
Like
to
inserts
the
the
truth.
knowledge into his brain.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, Orion's like, "Why did you save me, Desaad?" He's like, "That's incidental. I also Darkseid wanted me to do this thing." And so Mother Pox starts to try in vain to fix Orion, and Orion's like, "It's too late. The Black Racer's coming for me." So the Black Racer comes. Death
Oh shit.
has come. Listen, he skis. Surfer sports.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
You gotta see those two together.
Listen, like
I know.
I
I know.
It's a lot.
he's just so dumb looking.
He's really dumb looking.
I mean, honestly, like if you put him side by side with Darkseid, Galactus, Orion, Hi-Fi, they all look the same.
No, they
They
don't.
were all designed by
No, they
Jack
don't.
Kirby.
No.
They do all
And-
look lame.
And here's why.
Well, because of all the colors.
It's all the colors
Yes.
and it's the skis.
And
the skis.
it's the ski poles.
It is the ski poles. It's all of it.
Because now
it's all
they are definitely skis.
Oh, those are just skis.
It's literally like you invented another new god today and he rode a one wheel around.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
No, yeah, that's right. I think the Black Racer is making fun of Silver Surfer.
I'm sure it is.
I think they invented the Black Racer
yes.
as a kind of like, well, I made Silver Surfer over there, so I'll make the Black Racer over here. Even though Silver Surfer isn't like death incarnate.
No, I'm sure they
He does represent it.
I'm sure that could be it. I do legitimately think that they're like, no, it worked for Silver Surfer. So like,
It could be anything.
What other thing is like super popular right now that will never age the character?
Skiing.
Skiing. Everyone's always gonna love skiing,
That's
especially
fair.
like that kind of skiing where you put the skis close together and
Yeah.
And you wear little shorts and you wear
Yeah.
a big dumb cape and you got a bucket on your head. Like,
Yeah.
done.
Well, I mean, like that's not part of the skiing experience, but the ski poles.
You
I
know, the
know.
problem with him is that like he's not important enough for someone to have like fixed his design by getting rid of that stupid cape,
It's
like they did with Darkseid.
There was kind of like a black hole of Fourth World for a while at DC. Like people would occasionally do stuff, like there was a Legion of Superhero story in the 80s about Darkseid that kind of like reintroduces the Fourth World concept to the DC universe and to readers in general. But it's very sparingly used. It's rare you'll actually see many Fourth World related characters, especially the Black Racer, up until like the 90s. To the point where like there's actually a Wizard article where a bunch of creators in the late 90s, early 2000s are being interviewed about like comic book lore. And Kevin Smith is one of them. And they asked him what his kind of like controversial opinion was. And Kevin Smith said, Jack Kirby, I don't get it.
I saw that.
Whoa.
I don't get it. I don't like it. It's kind of stupid. And no one raked him over the coals for that. Like the audience didn't go like, what? Like if I said it now.
Right.
Kirby's influence was known by hardcore fans, but was obscured by the flashiness of the 90s and Stan and his rewriting of history. Like Stan was the carnival barker and Jack was the workhorse. And the workhorses rarely get deified.
Yeah.
It is only until after Kirby's death that people started to care and reference it. Like, and again, I really owe a lot to that Superman cartoon because like Dan Turpin is just drawn to be Jack Kirby in that show. And yeah, Dan's passing is just that episode is actually dedicated to Jack because Jack died around the exact same time. But like there's so much Fourth World in that show, and that show, much like Justice League, much later recontextualized the DC universe at large to audiences. That cartoon made a lot of people a lot more comfortable with Darkseid than they had been. And by extension, the Fourth World. It's like, look, if you like Darkseid and you dig all that stuff, you're gonna have to get with the program when it comes to Black Racer, who actually has no black in his outfit whatsoever. And they do redesign him, and he does look cooler, but he is on skis.
But why wouldn't you also color him black so that it's like what you would expect?
Yeah, and they do eventually.
And they do, but not originally.
I got two things.
It's weird.
One, on the back, the colorist of this decided his outfit looked different.
Yeah.
And,
because
and it actually works better with Darkseid and Highfather because he has like the taller boots, no shorts, and this isn't like a short sleeved. It's like it's more like armor. And then they're like, no, it is like a little spandex outfit.
But it's also the same guy who did both of those drawings.
Right. So, but like whoever colored this decided.
Rick Taylor did everything.
Huh.
Well, Dan.
I don't know. I mean, the fact is,
Well.
Black Racer happens and appears so rarely.
No one
that,
knows.
Like, no one knows what his model
No one knows.
Right, he could be whatever you want.
I also, you've glossed over the fact that, like, the way in which we know that this is Shala Bal is because she says her own name.
Well, of course she does.
She's like, does the touch of Shala Bal no longer please you? I'm like...
I would like more people to speak like that.
That's awesome. That's how you know they're like different, because they talk like they're at a Shakespearean
Like
play or
everyone does.
something.
Everyone in this book does, but it's like that's okay because it's Silver Surfer, it's Galactus, it's Darkseid, Desaad, Orion, Highfather, and Shalabal.
It's all that crap.
That would be like you talking to Tom King in an interview and him being like, does the writing of Tom King no longer please you, Sal?
So the Black Racer comes to like collect Orion, and Silver Surfer bumps into him because he's like, we're both cosmic riders of sporting equipment. And so while Silver Surfer is distracted by Black Racer, Mother Box fixes Orion.
Oh.
And then Orion like springs to his feet. and he throttles Darkseid, and then Darkseid's like, all right, that's enough. Galactus, that's enough. And so while Silver Surfer has a complete mental breakdown over the fact that he remembers everybody, it all comes back to me. I remember Zenla. I remember Shia LaBeouf.
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna attack Galactus, so he starts to do that. Earlier in the book, Silver Surfer is like, I serve Galactus because he plucked me out of nothing and made me into something. And Galactus goes, one day, that son of a bitch is gonna turn on me, and it's gonna be one hell of a day. Like,
he says it so
much,
often
I feel like
that when he finds out,
it's going to
it's not gonna be good.
No, and he isn't like, oh no, this is gonna bite me one day. This is, I am Galactus. I know that he will. Like, I have a prophecy that says
it's already
he will
happened,
betray
basically.
me.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you asshole! And Galactus is like, please, I gave you the power cosmic. You can't use it against me.
Yeah, what?
For as much as you have, I have more because I gave it to you.
Yeah.
So you can't. Also, this isn't the time that you will betray me. Like, you will really know who you are and remember everything, and it's going to stick. And that's going to be a sad day. But it ain't today. Flash. So he just blasts Silver Surfer and then basically fixes him up. But while he's distracted fighting Silver Surfer, Darkseid unleashes the Omega Beams on Galactus.
I love the concept that, like, Darkseid needs to power up.
Yeah.
I gotta charge my Omega Beam.
Next time. He just blasts him out of the comic.
He blasts him with the Omega effect, which is supposed to basically unmake him. He's like, you'll hurl... Because the idea... Okay. Darkseid is waiting for this moment, and the reason why he gave Silver Surfer his memories back is so that Silver Surfer would betray Galactus, and he wanted to, Darkseid that is, wanted to see what Galactus would do and say. And Galactus is like, oh man, one day you're going to betray me, and that makes me upset. And Darkseid's like, oh, so you do feel. You are not a god. You have conscience. And as a result, that means the Omega effect will work on you, and you will be hurled into oblivion.
I'm sorry.
Where you will never be able to escape your hunger and your guilt.
The Omega effect is contingent on if you feel?
Well, if you are mortal.
Okay, because I was like, you just basically described the penance stare.
Yeah, no, but he's like, which Ghost Rider uses on Galactus, but only in that Fantastic Four cartoon. But also, no, it's more just like, if you feel, you must be mortal, because gods don't.
Okay.
Like me.
So you're just a god. You're real powerful, but you are just a god.
So the bike shorts are bike shorts.
That sounds more like Darkseid's projecting his own inadequacies.
Oh, of course, because Galactus goes, yeah, that doesn't work. No.
Nope.
First of all, I don't feel bad. I feel bad because Silver Surfer's really effective, and I'm going to lose him one day, and that sucks for me.
Yeah, it's not a conscience.
And my singular concept, which is I'm going to eat things and people. I don't care. You idiot. Flash. And Darkseid's like, ah! And he just blasts him away. Like, he's just into Apocalypse. So he picks up Silver Surfer, and then he fixes him up, erases his memories again. He goes, hey. Surfer's like, oh man, what did I miss? Like, not much. Anyway, let's go.
Let's go eat this planet.
Let's go eat this planet. So Orion's like, well, it seems I owe you my life, Surfer, because you stayed your hand and didn't kill me, and I was able to reconstitute, and so I'll leave, and you can do what you want. You can do what you will. Like, go ahead, eat away, asshole. And the Darkseid Omega beams Silver Surfer.
Oh.
So he does.
He does fight him.
Yeah, but not
Only
until
for like a
after
second.
he fights Galactus.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he blasts him, and Galactus is like, well, the machine's done now, so I'm going to eat your planet. So whatever you make peace with whatever.
Right.
Idiot. So then he's like, ho, here we go. So then he starts to eat, and he's like, there's no life energy in this planet. Are you shitting me? And Darkseid's like, nip, yeah. Yeah, I made you do all that for nothing. I knew that my planet had no life energy because I used it all. Like, my evil and malice has corrupted Apocalypse to the point where it is, like, useless.
What about all those people that I saw?
Yeah, no, that's not the same thing as, like, having, like, a core of, like, actual natural substance.
Core?
A planet core, if you will.
I see.
Perhaps if he had a bongo, he could navigate it. But
so
instead, it's just the great machine that converts planet energy into energy that Galactus can feed on.
Right.
And so he's like, that sucks. And Darkseid's like, yeah. And Galactus is like, why did you do that, though? Like, why did you put me through all
What was the point of all this? He's the reader.
But
why?
You fought me. You sent hundreds of creatures to their deaths to stand against me. Why? Why?
Why didn't you just say there was nothing
Why
here?
didn't you just tell me? And Darkseid's like, look deep into my eyes, Galactus. It's because I do what I must. I'm a piece of shit. I'm an elemental piece of shit, like you. This is what I do. I'm a douchebag, like an elemental, undying douche, like you. We're both universal constants.
We're the same, you and I.
And
We're not
Galactus is
so
like-
different.
And then he just gets back on a ship and leaves. Like, well, that was a big fat waste of time. Thanks for nothing, asshole.
Okay, first of all, I'm nothing like you.
First of all,
Second of
no,
all,
because I wouldn't
I'm outta
do
here.
that shit.
Yeah, that's petty
Well, no,
and
he's
weird.
like, no, because
But, like-
we're different. Like, we're different in as much as, yeah, we're both constants. I am a constant douchebag.
Right.
You are a constant overeater. Those are two different things, but we're both the same level of douchebaggery.
But like
Right.
that level of like petty
no, I know. No,
is like totally like going against.
makes
like,
you mortal.
Yeah, like I'm like.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no.
this is all an act.
Yeah, but I'm not going to shoot myself with the Omega effect.
Okay. Okay.
So you're just a guy. You're just some guy.
Well, I'm
You're
really
just
tough,
some-
though. If Superman punched me, I wouldn't die.
You're just some dude. But I mean, like, you got your outfit ripped up here, man.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
if,
yeah.
if
Well, Galactus
if
punched me.
Galen cared enough.
Oh, he would kill Galactus in a second.
But he's like, I don't, because I am actually.
Yeah, because I am more of a god than you are.
So I have to go do my thing. I have to go eat. Bye.
But also, Galactus doesn't care enough about being a god to even call himself one.
Right, that's the thing.
Right, he's like, I don't
But
know.
Darkseid's like, but I definitely am. And don't you forget it.
Sure.
Sure.
You're the god of assholes.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm gonna go. So he leaves.
I'm gonna take my surfer and I'm gonna leave.
I'm gonna go. And my ship, my round ship.
Right.
My ship.
And Darkseid's like, I guess that's a notch in the win column for Galactus, but he is gonna lose the Silver Surfer, and that is gonna chap his ass. So I do kind of win also.
But like, not
He's
really.
not gonna lose it because of you, though.
well, no, it's more.
Right.
Well, no, but he will lose though.
But like, and
that's
but
all I
he's-
need.
But like Darkseid, honey, he's just gonna get a different one.
yeah,
Yeah.
he has like 6.
He doesn't
It's
care.
it doesn't. It's like
Maybe he'll pick you.
or decide.
Yes! That'd be amazing. Except
my
that we
God.
also see that like Darkseid blasts Silver Surfer with the Omega beams, so Darkseid could kill Silver Surfer.
Sure.
Because like when he blasts him, you can see like
He's all
Silver Surfer's
bubbling.
like bubbling, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh no,
Oh, that doesn't look good.
that can't be good for you.
But he's alive.
yeah, but
He is
like
alive, but
only
if he just hit
because-
him a few more times, he wouldn't be in it.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, no, Galactus like, knock it off. You're gonna want to see this. Let's see how much of your plan I can fit in my mouth. It's like eating charcoal.
What is your plant made of? Ugh. Mostly fire.
Mostly fire, circuits, as you can see.
And like
What do they do, though?
and like
Oh, nothing.
bones,
Oh, they produce fire.
bones and zombies.
Yeah.
The screams of the damned.
You can't really harness that.
You can't
I mean,
really
I
eat
find a
that.
way.
You can't eat that. Yeah, what good is it? You can't eat it.
Oh, it's good.
Oh no, trust me.
You wouldn't get it.
You
So
would
You're
get
an unfeeling.
In
Monster.
this time period, does Calabac not exist?
No, okay.
It's
So
like, where is he?
he should. Well, we don't have time for Cal.
Where's Granny Goodness?
We don't have time
Thank
for
you.
that.
We're the
is
Furies.
No time.
No time.
No, if this was double length, then all of Galactus's heralds would have come, and they would have fought the Furies, and that would have been fun.
And Scott Free would have been selected as a herald.
Absolutely. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
In fact,
Because that would have been like the great of uses of power. He's like, I have to get away.
Dark-
But it was a.
Yeah, Darkseid uses Desaad to shake Silver Surfer out of his funk of being Silver Surfer. He's like, oh, screw you, Galactus, meh. So then he's not his herald anymore, and then, Scott escapes, and he's like, ho, I'm free. And then friggin' Galactus is like, oh, that's fine. We're up now. You're my herald. Kill that silver guy. These are all fun things that would have happened if there was more.
Yeah.
But as you can imagine, Darkseid versus Galactus the Hunger wasn't nearly as successful as like Punisher versus Batman.
What?
Or Batman versus Punisher. So, but also as John Byrne, and his name still had a little bit of cachet back then. So, people were like, what? That sounds cool. Because also, Byrne does his best to kind of channel and homage Kirby in a big way. And this book is basically like a love letter to Stan and Jack. Yeah, that's how you can tell it's Jack, because Jack's like, the pictures show you what happens. I gotta tell you, Jack, I do like the story, but I wish there was a woman in here that we could marginalize in some way. But only through dialogue. Like,
Yeah.
she shows up and she has powers, but also doesn't do anything in the story, and I have to have men tell her that she's no good, or at least tell her that she has to get out of the way.
Yeah, not because she has to, but that's just how it goes.
That's just how it is.
That's just true to
that
life.
doesn't seem like Joan would like that, Stan.
Yeah, well. Joe doesn't know everything I do.
No, I can tell.
But yeah, it's fun. You can get it in the comments below because it's collected in the DC Marvel crossover omnibus that's available for purchase. Yes! Or at least pre-order, unless, it doesn't come out.
But you saw someone had it.
Yes.
Another one.
The creative teams have been sent copies. I've seen them in the wild. Not physically, but I've seen photographic evidence of them being printed and available in the hands of other humans. And I'm just like, okay, that's at least one more step closer to me having it. But one of them, I believe it's the Amalgam one, has been kicked down the road a couple of months. But the DC Marvel crossovers are coming. And so they will be available in the comments. Pick it up. You'll get this and many more. And it's so fun to see, like Superman, Spider-Man, and, Batman, Punisher, or
This is
Hulk, for
admittedly
that matter.
more fun than the amalgams.
Yes, I don't care for the amalgams.
Yeah.
I appreciate them, and I recognize them as like a totem of collaboration.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I am not a fan.
There's not much you can do with it because they don't have any history. Like these
Yeah.
characters.
No, they have so much history that's made up by the
I know.
person.
No, but you don't know it,
But you
so
don't
like-
know, these are characters you know the history of, and they're
Yeah.
meeting, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can tie in all the stuff you know.
Yes.
You could, wouldn't it be cool if like this happens? Oh, I wonder what, I bet this is what, like, you can't do any of that with Amalgam. It's like, I have
Absolutely not.
no idea what
Oh
this
no, Hyena and Darkclaw are fighting.
What does that mean?
Well,
What is
we'll turn the page because here's their origins, because you've never seen it before and you never will. But yeah, I do appreciate these. Although there's something to be said for the unified Earth and or the crossovers, because it's like on one hand it's fun to see like Green Lantern and Silver Surfer, where Green Lantern's like, who's this dude? This is crazy, because you want to see them kind of compare and contrast their universes.
Yeah.
But also, I do love the merging of the worlds, and this
Sure.
is basically just a love letter to what if Jack was paid fairly
Yeah.
and didn't leave in a huff and bring this weird, borderline incongruous mythology to the DC universe.
Okay.
Because Jack kind of created the cosmology of Marvel, and then and DC's was kind of already there, and then Jack's like, and also this stuff. Jack's at Marvel. He creates essentially the Marvel universe with Stan and Steve and so forth. He is unhappy. He leaves. He goes to DC. He creates the fourth world.
Yep.
He gets unhappy. He leaves. He goes back to Marvel and makes the Eternals.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so much weird cross-pollination.
Yeah, they're
the Eternals,
they're just two sides
the
of the
Eternals
same
fit
coin.
way better in the fourth world, but the fourth world fits way better in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
But Jack took DC stuff and infused it into the Eternals and brought it to Marvel, which is why the Eternals feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Darkseid stuff feels weird over here,
but
and the
that's-
Eternals feel weird over here, and it's
also
but it
because
all
the
fits in one
Eternals
place.
are on top of what's already there, which was Galactus,
Yes.
and Celestials and
Yes.
stuff, which Jack also invented.
Yes.
Correct.
So it does fit better. The Eternals fit
Well-
better with the stuff that Jack already created.
What it really is,
but it's also extra.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's just more, and I'm
but
like, nobody wants that.
But the New Gods are the Marvel influence on Jack as he's leaving, going to DC,
Yes.
and the Eternals are the DC influence on Jack as he's leaving and going back to Marvel.
That's right.
It's just
It's just
Yes.
it's the Ouroboros. You're just like, what?
Yeah. The
So
Eternals are
weird.
the DCified
Marvel universe.
Jack Kirby stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like Jack having learned a lot. Jack studied abroad and then brought this idea
Yeah.
back. And it's
It's
thanks.
But okay, so that's kind of like what you did before, but kind of different.
And that's why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Or at least why no one bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or why they had to meet Thor immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can be like, oh, that's who they are. So check it out. We'll see you guys next week with another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Tiffany.
Keep reading.
Is there any panel where something happens and then a character says something that's different than what's happening?
No.
They're clearly being killed and they're like, it's okay, he's fine.
Or
for some
they're
reason.
imbuing them with power that's making them not die. No.
Neat.
No.
There
Okay.
are no Stanisms in this book
Okay.
outside of what you would normally expect from Silver Surfer. But even then, Jack, I think, wanted to write Surfer. Everybody who was introduced to Surfer loved him. Stan loved Silver Surfer and loved writing for him. And Jack invented him without any provocation or inspiration from Stan.
Right.
Jack
He's
just
just like, I like
invented
this
him and
idea.
brought him in, and Stan's like, who's this guy? Like, literally, Stan was blindsided by the creation of the Silver Surfer. And then Stan went with Buscema and made the Silver Surfer comic without Jack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's like, thanks.
yeah, and I know you're gonna want to
But
do
that's so
everything with
interesting.
him.
Like, why? Why is there such an attachment to Surfer?
I think it's because these guys fancy themselves writers. And Silver Surfer is the kind of idea that you can allow yourself to like get more. Silver
got
Surfer
pathos.
has pathos and also has the ability to write a little more florically. You can really explore the space of your muse with the Silver Surfer.
Could it also be like, obviously they had all led fairly interesting lives up till this point, and now they're writing comics,
Yeah.
right? And it's like the Surfer is an explorer as well.
Yeah. It also could just be that like Surfer was a really popular character
that
once
could
he was
be
invented.
that,
They were like, I want to be on the ground floor. I want to be able
Sure.
to influence the formation of that character. So if anybody likes any aspect of Surfer, I can say that was mine.
All right. All right.
You know.
Interesting.
He's also an opportunity to get like philosophical.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And for it to not be incongruous, because it's like he was built to be philosophical.
Yes.
Like when, like, the Fantastic Four are, and it's like, okay,
all you get is Ben being sad.
yeah.
Oh, I'm a monster. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Or Spider-Man being like, oh no, Aunt May. Yeah, we know.
Well, then you get one panel of Reed Richards being like,
Quiet, Susan.
And
well, I was gonna say, like, he gives you a pithy little lesson at the end.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's right.
It was truly beauty tamed the beast or something, and it's like, thanks.
Thanks.
like,
that was really, you really stretched
You
the
put the
limits
cherry
of
on
your
top
use
there, yeah.
there.
maybe that's also what it is, because you know how like, especially with like DC, how it's like it's very fantastical, but like Marvel's the world outside your window, right? Where it's like, even if they have spectacular powers and they've gone places and whatever,
gotta be
like,
grounded, it's gotta be
very
relatable.
grounded. Like like we all have problems with like an older person. We have feelings of
Like
Gonna
universal themes.
Break a date,
and,
get a job.
yeah. It's more things that maybe they've had to deal with in their own lives.
Yeah.
Whereas like with the Surfer, it's like I can think about things that I don't have to face every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and also, if you really like stack them side by side, like X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Spider-Man, like they all talk the same. They all have the same issues. You know, like they're all going to deal with either their own personal problems in the form of like Daredevil or Spider-Man, or they're going to deal with like the military or some great threat that looks ridiculous and has bug eyes that shows up because there's like 17 of those guys strung together. With Silver Surfer, it's like anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yep.
Lovecraftian horror, sure. They meet God, that's probably why Stan liked Doctor Strange so much too.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man,
And that's
I
why
can
he-
really go for
And that's
it.
why he talks so ridiculously,
out.
even though like
Where it's like you're from Connecticut.
like Thor's another chance to like, I could write in a different way. I'm so sick of writing these normal people
Yes.
with their normal
Well,
problems.
and I can also imagine it's like such a challenge when you are writing for normal people because you only have so much space. It's like it's got to be the most truncated, short, abridged version of conversations.
But I also have to make
Yeah.
each person like distinct and like, ugh. What if I could just write in a totally different style that's like very clearly different and it's a lot easier.
Right, yeah. Well, especially because no one's going to call me on it because it's friggin' made up.
Right.
You know? Like I remember
Who's
being,
to say how the friggin' Asgardians talk?
Yeah, I remember being in high school and thinking I could write like Shakespeare.
I bet you did.
Yep. But then if someone's like, that's not like Shakespeare, that's bullshit. Oh, well, it's not supposed to be. It's Thor.
Yeah, that's
Totally
Thor.
different.
Yeah, no. That's just how Asgardians talk.
Yeah.
And who are you to say how they?
I wasn't imitating Shakespeare. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
what? No.
That's a complete.
There's a lot
That's
of
an alien
forsooth and
race.
thous there.
Philadelphia. I believe.
Philly?
I
Oh.
think he's born in Philly, but he was raised in New York, so he really
He wouldn't talk like that.
no.
I mean, like, and you lived like at least 28 years
Maybe
not talking like
maybe
that.
that's like the power of magic. It just
The magic just like seeped into his head and
Yep.
well,
There's all those books. all
well,
those
'cause
magic
you
books.
know what it is? It's just like if you're gonna say something about the hoary host of Hoggoth, you're not also gonna like scratch your balls and talk about the Mets game. You know, you gotta add.
Like, this is who I am now.
This is who I am now.
I gotta go. I just go all
I
in.
gotta go all in.
You can't be like, you screw me on this toilet main, man. Also, the hoary host of Hoggoth, command!
Just try to imagine any like local New York pizzeria owner, bagel maker, whatever, trying to cast a spell.
Exactly.
Just
Hey, oh shit, the mindless ones are here. Fuck off! Oh, right, no, I'm sorry. Hang on. I got this. By the, what Howery? It's Hori. How do you know? This is written in a dead language that was written by a blind monster from the fourth dimension. What are you talking about?
Hey, I'm spelling here by the Crimson Band Society Rack.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, okay.
What about him?
The fucking mindless one. What about him?
Well,
You have to finish the spell.
They're
Say it.
coming.
Here we go.
They're gonna come.
They're gonna get you.
They're gonna get you.
Unless you bind them with those bands.
Nope.
Nope, you know what? Screw this.
I'm out.
Use my cloak levitation and fly away. Going to Naples.